With my guest Susan, I connect the dots in wedding and dating. Susan has a wedding planner business called āmasian Wedding Studio. She will point out crucial intercultural differences, especially Western to Eastern, to keep in mind when planning a wedding and when, for example, engaging with the parents of your partner. Susan is a graduate of the Founder Institute program. She didn't go through the Founder Institute program with her wedding planner business, but with a new one, a different one. It is an elite matchmaking business called Shan Elite Matchmaking International. Susan, I really hope I'm getting the pronunciation right. If not, I'm really sorry. You will find out how her elite matchmaking business works and, for example, her top 3 tips for good dates. I think Susan did a fantastic job of explaining the core ideas and the specifics of her 2 businesses, and she delivered a lot of insights into her industries. I learned a lot from her, and I hope you do too. Susan, welcome to my podcast. It's great to see you.
My pleasure, Christian.
So you have a wedding planner business, right?
Yes.
I thought we would talk about this first. So how or why did you start a wedding planner business? How did that come about?
Yes, I have this wedding planning business actually since 5 years ago. And since a student, I really love to plan every small, big events. And I enjoy it, especially when there is a successful one come out. Also, almost 12 years ago, all my family and close friends started to have weddings internationally because I have a lot of international friends. Mm-hmm. So I was always the bridesmaid or from the family group who are helping for the wedding planning. And then it came out the idea okay, really nice that you are showing yourself being helpful for the amazing weddings. And some of the weddings from my friends, they are already planned by top wedding planning companies. And I saw how much difference it is making. And, 5 years ago, I had my wedding here in Germany, in a very beautiful castle close to Frankfurt. I love the environment and everything, but I also see that there are lots of things can be done, like if there is a wedding planner there, because the wedding couple and the family, they know everything, but on the day, you have to concentrate on the guest. Mm-hmm. So here is where I can bring more value and make a beautiful, amazing dream wedding there.
In what castle did you have your own wedding?
That's Schloss Hotel Weiberhofer. That's half an hour by driving from Frankfurt.
And you liked it? Was it good?
Yeah, it was really nice.
That's great.
I mean, because there I was not professional, but now from the professional side, I would like to see if at the day there is someone who's so helpful about planning the wedding. I would be so thankful. Mm-hmm. I'm satisfied with the wedding, but there is some cultural difference, and there is some better ways we can do with guests. Mm-hmm. If there is someone helping me as a bride there.
You're from China, right?
Yes.
So a lot of family from China, I guess, was flown into Germany for exactly. that. Okay. And I'm sure with your own wedding, you already gained a lot of experience, what it is like to have a wedding in Germany under the circumstances here, but to also be culturally sensitive to
exactly.
Asian, let's say Asian marriage demands, right?
Yes, especially if there is a cross-cultural wedding. For example, during my wedding, we had a Western style or German style wedding. Mm-hmm. And I love the DJ. We had really a great DJ. He's popular. And he wants to show that he's also satisfied with the wedding at the end. So he sent us a really beautiful, nice clock. And with his name there, it should be really nice for German sense.
For the wall.
For the wall.
Ah, yeah.
But with Chinese culture, that has another meaning. Because the sound is not that nice. and it's like taboo. So nobody likes to get a clock as a gift, especially for the wedding. So, like with Chinese culture, there's another meaning. So I'm still thankful, and I know the meaning is cherish the time, but I think lots of misunderstanding can be prevent. Like this kind of surprise, we can remove that at the beginning with the right planner.
So when there's an intercultural wedding, you have to, like I said, be sensitive to the cultural differences, because what you may do in one country may be something bad or even an insult in another country, right?
Exactly.
Do you have an example for what, for example, we would do here in Germany that Chinese parents or grandparents would find very not so good?
Yes, for sure. Like the number 4, actually, this also has a meaning like the clock, meaning like that. But
4.
Yes. So you should really prevent to use that during the very important time, something like wedding or like wedding suit number. So don't use that or don't pick anything related to that. And all the wedding time, it would be better to set related to with 8 or 6 or 9, because 6 means lucky, 8 means lots of money, 9 means long term. So, and also not only from German side, from Chinese side, I had one wedding parents, because from the very traditional Chinese culture, it is really nice that you put, peanuts and all this nuts thing on your wedding bed. That means you're gonna have lots of kids. That's a good meaning.
So it stands for fertility.
Yes, exactly, fertility. But actually, especially in the star hotels in Germany, it's not allowed, because it's not easy for the hotels.
The room service would be very annoyed, I guess.
Exactly. So you see, there are lots of things you need to educate the international clients, and that's what we are doing as well. And we also have to do the communication, not only because of culture, but also of different habits. And, of course, the regular work of what a normal planner should do to plan the time, to negotiate the contract price and everything in details.
And from which countries are your clients mostly?
I would like to see, because of my background, mostly, they have something to do with Chinese or Chinese culture, but maybe they're growing up, in US or in Europe. But still, I also have some very international, like wedding couples, growing up here in Europe and so on. But I think all of my clients, they all have a very international sense.
Yeah. And what do you think would be like the key differences of Chinese wedding compared to a German wedding?
I would like to see nowadays the trend is the same, like the aesthetic is internationally, especially when it comes to a very high-end ones. But some Chinese wedding couple or Chinese bride or Chinese groom, they want to still keep one touch of Chinese culture. We embed that. For example, the traditional Chinese wedding dress, they are actually red. So, yes. That means red wedding dress or red suit. That will bring you lucky and everything. So traditionally, the Chinese wedding should be a red wedding, and the Western style is a white wedding. But sometimes we just try to combine them for the main ceremony, like traditional Western style. It's all in white, but the red part, we keep that for dancing part or for morning part as well. But then from the dress code, you need to be careful to keep all the guests well informed. I'm just using my wedding, because that's the start of every story, as example. During my wedding that time, although we informed guests, but we forgot to write, okay, please reserve red for the bride, because I thought everyone knew that, the Chinese culture, but no, it's not like that when it comes to wedding. So there were lots of guests wearing red, and my parents were shocked, like, how there different women and men wearing red during your wedding. I was like, it's culture.
They found it kind of insulting at first.
Yes.
Ah, wow.
And confused.
Okay. I also did not know that. I thought, I naively think it's white everywhere, but that's not true at all, right?
Yes, and I thought everyone knows Chinese culture red but it's also very naive, you know?
Yeah. There you can see how you grow up in this, not you specifically, but like we all maybe in this little bubble where you think, of course it's like that. But just a few 100 kilometers away, maybe things are different, right?
Exactly. And also, tea ceremony is very well loved about when the couples have a touch of Chinese culture. So they would like to experience that, because some of Chinese, they just have lived abroad for a long time, but they still want to have some traditional things from the root. Mm-hmm. So I also educate them how to do the tea ceremony to show your respect to your parents.
Okay. So during the wedding, actually, the ceremony, there's a tea ceremony.
Yes, we always separate that, like Chinese ceremony part and the Western ceremony part. So for the Chinese ceremony, we make the tea ceremony.
But is it separated as in on different days, or just during the day, different parts?
Normally, that's in the morning, the tea ceremony.
Yeah.
And the Western ceremony is always in cozy, nice afternoon.
Yeah, because here from some weddings, like some typical German weddings, I got the impression that it usually starts in the afternoon.
Exactly.
There's some cake, tea and coffee, bit of a break, and then dinner, drinks, dancing, right?
Exactly. And in China, it's another way around. Okay, China has different regions. And some region thinks it's not, it's also bad luck if you have wedding during afternoon or the evening. But some regions think it's good luck to have that in the evening. It's already not easy to combine them in China.
Yeah.
Not measuring, combining that with Western culture.
Yeah.
But I've designed kind of international way, because international couples are more understandable, or couples with international sense. So, I've done weddings, like several different, 5 or 6 I've tried already. They went on well. So the tea ceremony is always set in the morning, because when the wedding couple, they just woke up, have some makeups, and then just can present the tea to the parents to thank them for bringing them here this big, and then they come to another journey. And then the Western ceremony will be held in the afternoon, so no big conflict then.
But the tea ceremony is specifically an act of gratitude towards the parents.
Exactly.
And you have that without breakfast.
Actually, traditionally in China, the wedding is very stressful. That's also why I want to reduce the stress. I'm just designing it another way. If you go very traditionally in the Chinese way, you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, a.m., and you do the makeups. Yes, you do the makeups, and the bride is waiting for the groom come. And there is some games. I think it's similar like in Russian. It's called ransom games. So the groom has to bride the bridesmaids and all the family, give them the red bag with money, small cash, and then try to get inside the room to get the bride. And maybe they'll do some funny games.
It's like a little game.
It's like a little game. You have to go through all the challenge until you win the bride. A lot of things you have to finish. And then, then you win the bride, and then, you change to another clothes. the traditional one, you go to parents and show your respect and show your thankful attitude to your parents. More or less like this.
So there's also quite a humorous component in Chinese wedding, right?
A lot, and it's very, how can I say? For example, there is one game, like the groom has to, eat a really long noodle, but the noodle is specially designed. He has to really eat like 10 minutes to finish that noodle, something like that.
Okay, that's great. And the tea, it may sound a bit nerdy, but I like tea. I like green tea. Mm-hmm. So is it specific green tea? Does it have to be, what are the specifics here?
Actually, there is no specification about the tea sort. Okay. We've made all different ones, with leaves, without leaves. Yeah, but the important thing is, from wedding planning side, the tea has to be warm, not a cold tea. And, of course, you have to be careful. Normally we ask the bridesmaid do that. They should be responsible for that. Mm-hmm. Then you need really to have a careful bridesmaid who has been trained to hand over, the cups, because if they are warm, it's also not easy to handle. It's like all the small details.
And you as a wedding planner, I'm sure you're also in contact with the bridesmaids, right?
Yes.
Of your clients?
Yes.
And do you do like little schoolings, little green tea ceremony workshops?
Workshops, no, not yet, but it's really a great idea. Thank you. I think they would love to learn that. But yes, because they are bridesmaids, so nobody wants to be the dumb bridesmaids. But me, myself, as bridesmaid, I was dumb at the first time, and I don't know how to behave. And, but really, that's why I'm also kind of educating or teaching how a bridesmaid do her job very well. It's very important. Best man as well.
And are you still excited about weddings?
Yes.
How many weddings roughly have you planned so far?
30 or more or less in the last years. Actually, that's not a lot, because there are wedding planning agencies that are planning every year 50 or even more. But I really love quality. I'm a quality person, so I prefer to invest in every wedding more time and to do that personally, because on the day you need to have someone who knows the whole structure and know who's doing what. That's why you need to be
like
there.
The mastermind.
Yes, exactly. It won't help that if you're doing lots of weddings, how much energy you are able to invest in one wedding. Yeah. So in the coming years, because I'm also doing one step before, which we will talk later, I am planning starting from next year, because this year is also special. Next year, I will only plan 5, maximum 10 weddings every year. I would really concentrate on the quality.
So you also have the mantra quality over quantity. Because yes. I have that too for my podcast. Some people put out 2 or 3 episodes per week. Mm-hmm. I want to put out one really good episode where people really get something from it. It's I think it's more satisfying for me personally.
I agree. And to be honest, people are not stupid. People are really smart, and we cherish our time. So we only pick the best for ourselves. That's also smart.
And people really, sometimes with their time investments, I think not all people are sensitive, but with money investments, especially when it's for a wedding, and we talk 5 figures, right? At least.
Yes. I'm planning also starting from that.
Yeah. I mean, when people put in that much money, they really think about what they get out of it, right?
Exactly.
And does it work? Is it kind of a referral only business that you have? Because I mean, there are lots of Asians in Frankfurt.
Yeah. I mean, till now, mostly it's working like this because I cannot offer the quantity. So when it comes to quality, I think not so many agencies want to devote for that. From China, I do have some agency because they don't need a lot. They also need a very nice wedding plans. So I'm also planning demo weddings for them. It's like they are bringing me clients, and then they are using the wedding I planned and to kind of like copy, I can see. But I'm okay with it because for me, important is not to plan a wedding to show my brand, but for me, it's important to plan a wedding just belong to the wedding couple. It doesn't have to be the most expensive one, but the important is they have the best winning out of it and put their own love story inside of the wedding. You can see from all the details and the location and all the processes. It's for me more important because that's a wedding to remember.
So before we get into the entrepreneurial or the business details, and I would also like to ask some questions about how the wedding business is going in Corona times, I would actually like to ask about what are the first steps. So when a couple approaches you, do you have like more or less long, maybe a few hours of honest conversation about how the wedding should go down?
Yeah, for sure. Normally, I get inquiries differently. Some from recommendation, some even from Wechat because I have a Wechat blog and people are passing it through. So normally I schedule a phone call with them. I devote half an hour free consultation for them. And I prefer to speak more, talk less. That means I really go to see what they need for the wedding first and what I can help, what do they need, then I give them some advice and I give them a free schedule for the wedding planning. And if some wedding couples prefer to meet in person, I will meet them as well. And I always recommend it this way. One reason is I can have more time with them and I would like to feel the people. The other thing is like, I can also hear them love story because if I'm talking on the phone, people are still not, we don't meet each other. But then when it's a cozy face-to-face meeting, I can really listen to their love soul, and then I will be inspired more when it comes to location, wedding ideas, and everything.
You were mentioning schedule. How much time in advance do you minimally? So, what would be the minimum of time that you need to plan it?
I mean, it really depends on how big the project is.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have done. Like at the very beginning of my wedding planning career, we planned in 1 month during the high season in August, one wedding in Manita, but with a lot of support from wedding couples as well.
Okay.
That's also a referred contact for sure. That's already over 120 people, but we managed that very well during the hot season.
But why would a couple approach you in such short notice?
One thing is we know each other for a long time. They trust me, know my capability, and also they know that during the wedding day, if there are lots of people, they cannot handle all the details. They need someone to have control of the whole situation, and they can be busy with being the main character there. And also my clients, wedding couples, they have less time. They're either bankers or like they have good position in companies. They work a lot. Especially that's the thing I like about the wedding couple who have the international character. They're really normally very hardworking people. So they also prefer to let the professional, let the experts do what they are good at. Then they save time and energy and do what they are good at.
So they can really trust you and they let you do your thing.
Yeah, that's my pleasure.
I'm sure your work is a lot easier when people do that and when they do not interfere so much with you, right?
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. And You have two co-founders, right? Is that true?
Actually, I have 4 different business co-founders.
Okay.
For wedding planning, I have a co-founder. We build the company together, and the part we are working together is the wedding dress, because she has this amazing taste about clothes, based on her experience, taste, and everything. So we are working on the wedding dress part. The other part, I'm in charge of that myself.
Is your partner a designer, or what is she by trade?
She's not a professional designer, but because of I would like to say, growing background, starting background, and friends and career involved. She's in that field very.
Yeah, and what are you looking for in co-founders? What is important for you to see or to have in a business partner?
For me, I think trust, respect, efficient communication, and that I had with this co-founder from wedding business. Because although she's a mom, but she really made time when I need her. And also when we communicate, she's just trusts me on my field, and I trust her on her field. So she's our, let's say, taste setter. So it's like we compensate each other also very well. But the same goal we also have, and we are also not eager for, we need to make money for company, but we are not eager for money business.
Yeah.
Because wedding business, you really need to have a heart.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot from founders that have a co-founder. They say, I have to trust him or her first. Mm-hmm. If I cannot trust him or her, then the person with the best capabilities may not be worth much if he or she stabs me in the back once he or she gets the chance, right?
Exactly. And that's how we came together. Like we knew each other from fitness studio. We were doing sport together. Yes. And but we also knew that we belong to a same circle. That's the Wechat circle from the local. I was living in Aschaffenburg at that time. And we just ran into each other, and we knew who we are. And then we talked, and it was really nice. Just invite me to her house, and then I just opened up with my story, and she opened up with her story, and I met her family. So it's she has her personal magic as well, but she's a private person, so normally I'm outside.
Okay, yeah. And you mentioned Wechat a few times.
Yes.
So a lot of Europeans, or maybe Western people, are not that familiar with it, actually. I'm surprised. And I sometimes get the impression that we Europeans tend to think it's like the Chinese WhatsApp, but it's more, right?
Yes, it's like the Chinese version combination of WhatsApp, Twitter, and Facebook.
So it's all combined. Yeah.
Yes, and also from there you have some mini program. You can get access to the Chinese Uber, Chinese Lieferando, everything.
It's like an all-in-one app of many modern app versions. Yeah.
Yes, if there is any chance that you will be in China, you need one to have a normal life.
That's very interesting, because when I look at people's phone screens, they are so crowded with dozens and dozens of apps and different payment systems. So you also went through the Founder Institute program, but not with your wedding planner business, but with the, help me with the pronunciation, please. Shan Elite Matchmaking?
Yes, exactly. And that's the business I'm working with another co-founder.
Yeah.
And that's one step before the wedding planning.
Yeah. So in the genesis of like the love life of a couple, with this business you help people finding somebody, right? Exactly.
But with a proposition, and that's very, very crucial. That's offline, and that's for marriage-minded singles. And personally, I always prefer the selective one who have a noble value.
That is indeed a very important proposition, because it's very distinct from pretty much every app you have online. Because Tinder, Bumble, Lovoo, all those dating apps, for I think for a large amount of men that use it, it's honestly for hooking up.
Yes. Sadly, I have to agree. Of course, I don't deny that people can find true love there, but the percentage is extremely low, less than 1%. And I planned wedding for couples who met there, but it's randomly.
Yeah.
They have to be very, very selective. And I got a big data there, like says 46% people on the Tinder before coronavirus. Now there are more. They are actually already couple, or they have someone already. They just want to be present there to see, do they still have a value on the market or not? And some of my friends even had the experience. They were using that, and they did some married ones. So it's something like that.
I heard that or read that or whatever a few times, that women who, I mean, obviously not all, I don't want to generalize, but some women that are on Tinder, they are in a relationship, and as you said, they kind of secretly are on Tinder to see if men are interested and what men. And I could assume, I mean, it's just a thought, maybe it's because they are not that happy and not that convinced in their relationship, right?
I'm not sure. I would like to see everyone have different case, but it doesn't fit our value.
Yeah. No.
So that's why I'm doing offline. And at least Tinder is not for payment. There was a lot of paid platform.
Yeah.
And you need to think, if they want to make their business running, they need to make you permanent payment. And then they will attract you to pay again and again. And how can they make you pay them again and again? So you have to be regularly single.
Yeah. And also I read, there's this motto, I think, in a lot of like product startups or startups generally. If you don't pay for the product, you are the product.
Yeah.
So on Tinder, obviously, all the users on Facebook, I know. Zuckerberg says they have a very noble cause to connect the world, but maybe it's effectively a B2B business that sells a lot of user data. But that's another topic. So since when are you running the elite matchmaking business?
To be honest, it's very new business.
Yeah.
We just started our common company last year. With a centered address from New York. My business partner, she has actually done 3 years already. And luckily we got this mentoring, especially through her experience, from the best matchmaker from Up Easter. They've done over 30 years. And they are also only doing offline. And we got the business model actually from them. So we didn't grow up anything out of nothing. We just try to get all the great experience built on people, real experience, and try to bring more happiness for the other people.
And so you went through the Founder Institute program, right? Here in Frankfurt.
Yes.
And how was that experience like?
I think it's really a great help. Because I like to do the thing with heart and authenticity, but for business, you need a plan.
Sure.
And the Founder Institute just help you to regulate that and help you to put your product or service on the market and let the best people, mentors, expertise to tell you what are the things fit for the market, which part don't fit, and how can you get improved. So with the right direction and great experience, feedback, without holding back, I just got my business idea really polished and in practical way, and that fit the local market better, because this business model, although New York is already international, but let's see, Europe is really special. It's very, very diverse.
More diverse than the US or specifically New York?
I think so, especially when it comes to relationship, culture, and everything. And especially when it comes to marriage minded, then there are lots of things you need to embed into the business model to let people understand what kind of value you want to bring. Like some of the marketing things, maybe it's better you don't do the American direct sale. Although it's powerful, but sometimes when it comes to private fields, better you let people trust, know, understand your service first, and then it works out.
That's very, very interesting. So I assume that in the Founder Institute, it is of great help that the mentors there are from all over the world or all over Europe, right?
Exactly.
Like Pedro
That's so
from
great.
Portugal, some other guys or people from other countries. And so the idea of the Founder Institute program is to get this business idea, let's say, in the words of Peter Thiel, it's 0 to 1 to a basic product, a very basic product, that you then afterwards can present to the market and evolve even further, right?
Yeah, for sure. And also they have all of the mentors. They have all the international experience from business and private field, and also they will provide you this view and provide you this great platform for you to present, for you to get without holding back feedback. And then they were just, like taking you as a small baby hand in hand and to bring you up until you can face the world yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And you also had to pitch a lot, right? Every week.
Yes. And sometimes, although I have to work a lot and then I have to always be prepared, that's stressful. But now I'm very thankful for that, because that really bring me also the capability to face stress. And also, Founder Institute has built this amazing teamwork field. They always divide people in teams. We are able to work with different founders together. We help each other from different fields, because some are great IT people, some are great banking people. So we compensate each other as well. We learn each time from each team different things.
So you use in the Founder Institute the synergies of the team
Exactly.
very, very well, very effectively.
Yeah.
And I also heard from both Pedro and Eugenio Grappa that in such a team that you're working with, they all get a little stake in the company, right?
Yes.
And that's a good incentive to make sure that they really cooperate and that they really invest time and energy. Right?
Yes, I totally agree. Am I allowed to say how much percentage? I think it's transparent.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's 4%, and for their experience and for their level, that's nothing for them. And especially when this company is not working out, it's nothing. But the thing is, they want to show that their loyalty or their trust in your company's future. So I think it makes sense that there is a beneficial part binding there to see. Yes.
It's very smart. It's very smart. Yeah.
Agree.
And when you were pitching, what were some core lessons? Because I know you get a lot of feedback and they are brutally honest, right?
Yes, totally agree. Actually, I was always the lucky one, maybe because I was a wedding planner.
All
always
fives.
lucky. And I have to admit, my design was not the best, but they helped me to structure it really in a great way. And by structure the pitch deck, then you really get a better logic thinking of your business, why you are doing it, how you are doing it, what are the important parts, and so on and so on. And they will help you to pick out the shining part and polish the not yet great part. So yeah, that's really good.
So they not only give direct feedback to the pitches, to the presentations, but also even more detailed feedback to the pitch deck and the details, right?
Yes, exactly. And they provide the platform always in different places to let you have the feeling that you're going to face all different people to have your idea presented.
So what were some of the surroundings or the areas where you presented?
WeWork is one place they really love to work, and we were also in Euratom. I'm very impressed with that location.
What is that? I didn't get it.
Euratom.
Euratom, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Euratom.
Well, isn't Mindspace up there?
Yes.
Also co-working space, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And also one in Hanau. One. I forgot.
No, not important. That's not important. Okay. And my favorite question of what I got down so far is, what makes a person elite enough to participate in your matchmaking platform?
Yes, that's a really great question. Actually, elite is a word that my mentors from Founder, they suggest me to change because of some other business. This word is used in other way with other understandings. But that's also why I'm trying to bring out the noble value and also blue blood value.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I know it's a little bit abstract, but I really love it personally, so I would be happy if people can understand it. So, I mean, these days there's not actually blue blood or everything noble. It's not the most important thing. It's important, it's nice to have, but most important thing is you have the capability to make yourself noble, or make yourself have the same value as the blue blood. And for me, the definition is, it's important that you can have the sense to have self-growth. Especially as an adult, it's really not easy.
So it's a process. It's an ambition. It's not a fixed state, like I have this now and I have this now, but you're always like working towards it.
Exactly. And I think it's also the thing I'm always talking with people, especially during this special pandemic time. You need, actually, the positive part is that's a great chance that you face yourself better. And then you know how to get along with yourself. You know which part you can still improve. You have to admit that, I mean, nobody is perfect. But you have to admit that you can still work on some parts to get a better you. And to be honest, it's easy to see, not easy to do, even for me myself.
Yeah. What I find interesting about the words noble value and blue blood is that it immediately attracts only certain people. A lot of people may not be familiar with these terms. So they read over it and they're like, I don't know, I don't care. But they are obviously not your audience. And that's the practical thing about this specific wording, right? And to take good care of how you frame the business, because obviously this attracts certain people.
Yes, I totally agree. You're really smart. I have to say that. You get a corn part. And yeah, because it's like Atelier, it's not a huge, big business. It's international. It's global. But yeah, I would like to keep it with quality and with the people who have the same value.
And so in analogy to the question of how the first few steps of the wedding planner business is, what are the first few steps that you have with a client of the matchmaking business?
That's a great question. We actually have two different parts. So we have men as clients and women as members. So for men clients, normally they call me like 10 minutes for free, and then we will schedule simulated date. It's never a real date. It's like an interview, but no nervous. Like I just want to go through because that's something I can bring them already before they pay, before they confirm my service. I would like to go through to see their etiquette, to understand them really in person without judging, to understand what kind of woman would fit them better. So for that, I need to see them in person and to experience some time with them together and to ask my questions for sure. And then if from both sides fits, we will sign the contract because we are pretty good at privacy and confidentiality. Thanks to my experience from M&A world, that helped a lot. And then we sign a contract, and then I will give them only 3 information from the women's side. It's like more or less the age, the surname. If surname is very specific, we will just pick something similar. Just let them to have a feeling. And then we will give them the photo of the women. And then they will pick like from 3 different photos, one they want to date. And then of course, although we didn't give out all the information, but I just matched them with my, expertise already. And then I will start to arrange the first date for them. I will give them also, continuously, my advice for date. They can accept or not accept. It's never a problem.
That's great. Interesting. Okay, I have so many questions.
But for women, actually, there are not other processes.
I wanted to ask about the gender specifics.
Okay.
No. That's what I meant. Like, so you now describe the process, how you go through it with a man, right? Mm-hmm. And how would it look like with a woman?
Yeah. So for women, they will just also call me 10 minutes. I will explain them how does it works. Mm-hmm. And then they will go to our online platform to fulfill the formula. And then with the formula, I will see if we have some clients might fit for them, might be their match. I will inform them and I will arrange a 30 minutes interview with them, a personal one offline. And during this time, maybe online, but I have to meet them in person. Then they can be my member. And then, I will go through the interview. It's kind of like, coaching for them to let them know what kind of men fit them better. And all the questions are also designed according to the formula they filled. And then the object is, of course, to see, I can understand them better and to see whether they are really the fit for the client.
But when it's a global business and let's say a good-looking, ambitious 28-year-old man from Finland wants to be on your matchmaking platform, how would you meet him in person?
Normally they will fly to me or they will book tickets for me to fly to them.
Wow, so much effort. And that is also a big distinction to what you have on Tinder and other platforms, because they are the the entry hurdle to get in is very low.
Yeah, exactly.
And for you, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry.
Worries, no
and
worries.
for your business, they really need to put in effort and they show dedication, right?
Exactly. Imagine if for a matchmaker they are putting so much effort, how important is it for them to meet the women? And also that's also smart men as well, because they are using expertise to save their time. This kind of clients, they will never have a problem to find women, but women to get married, the future wife, that's another different concept. So,
yeah, I can sadly agree. Finding a woman is one thing. Finding the right one to marry is super, super different. But okay, I don't want to share my experiences here. And so, did you already, if I may ask, have had success in making matches?
To be honest, it's still going on because we started early.
It's very early stage, right?
Yes, and although I believe falling in love on the first sight, but when it comes to marriage, I always suggest people, even you guys have chemistry during the beginning of dates, take your time. Take your time to understand each other from family, from your value, and to see how you get along, especially going through different times. So, now there is not yet getting married, but there are some couples dating very well now.
Yeah, okay. And when somebody wants to be part of your online platform, your offline matchmaking service, do they approach you online through a homepage? Is there an app? There's no app, right?
Yeah, there is no app. There is a web page, and normally I got, because I'm very careful with my clients and members, I got lots of recommendations. So, yeah.
I think both of your businesses live a lot from referrals, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's carrying trust and personal credibility.
And what are some things, if you're allowed to say, if you want to say, what are some things that you ask in the first few steps? Like, for example, take a man. What do you ask him? Like salary, educational background?
I mean, actually, salary, I don't need to ask a lot about that because if they can pay my service, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's someone who has problem with that. But normally I would like to, because men are not like women, they don't tell you their love story or about it at the first sight. So normally with men clients, of course we talk like what kind of women you prefer now, or what is your status right now? Are you stable? And then to see whether he's already on the right status. And when I'm sure already during the phone call, of course by introduction of my service as well. And then I will just arrange a personal meeting, simulated date. And normally that will happen either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And then I will see their etiquette, and then with the cozy environment, I will try to get out what they are thinking, what they experience about their family and everything.
They go on a simulated date with you?
Yes, but the single ladies don't have to be afraid, because imagine if a guy is seeing a woman and telling her the deepest secret of his heart, these women will only be a very good friend, mostly. So like for the future wife, he will be smart enough to find the expertise to know that like what kind of woman he fits best, but he will know that, okay, I need to respect and try to present myself in an authentic way.
So what are you, I mean, then you are the first date expert, right? Like, what are
Not
some...
necessarily.
But what are some common mistakes that you see men doing on the first date? I'm sure you will coach them on that, right?
Yes, that's also what I can bring by, like, some of the first simulated dates, like they pick the wrong place or,
Wrong place?
Yes.
Place to eat, for example, you mean?
Sorry?
Wrong place to eat, for example, you mean?
Yeah, could be, imagine like if you go to, lunch, with Chinese and in an Indian restaurant, that can be good, but probably you need to do some research first. Maybe a Chinese restaurant would be a better idea if you want to try the cultural touch. Or you need to dig deeper, or like have a chat to see what's her cultural preference. And also there was like one part that was a fancy place, but there were baby around. So it was very loud.
So the location was too loud to have an intimate conversation.
Exactly. What else? And then with a European girl, if you want to experience some African food, you need to be sure what kind of food she eats or not. So lots of these things, that's just starting. Yeah.
And also, maybe the woman is not comfortable to eat with her hands, because in African restaurants you have to. You are the expert of culture.
I wish. there are lots of this kind of stories, and also like, one of the simulated dates happened like, there are thoughtful gentlemen. They always check the locations, but if you didn't check, maybe there's the door of the restaurant's toilet was broken or something like that always happen.
Oh God, okay.
It's the real story, and I hope the gentlemen don't hate me if I talk like this.
No, I'm sure my listeners are listening very, very carefully now. And what are some characteristics about a man or woman that increase the likelihood of them getting a good match?
I think it takes time. First, I'm really careful. I need to see their family background, the education background, the love experience they've had. It's all related. And also the religion and everything. But the chemistry I cannot control, because maybe everything fits, and when they meet, the chemistry doesn't work, and sadly it won't work out. So lots of elements there.
So something can look great on the paper, but then in real life it's different, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. But are there some specific character traits, or maybe how a person looks? I mean, it can be something superficial that makes them more likely to succeed on your platform, or maybe generally. Do you have some experience?
For sure. Actually, our criteria works already very well. For women, we picked out, it's like they have to have at least 4 Bs. That means beauty, brains, body, and balance. And they have to be either having their own career or like have a stable job. So that already filtered a lot of women. And also psychologically and physically healthy. For men and women, it's also very important. Also from men's side, it's not only important that they have the capability to pay, it's also important that they have the capability to make a woman to be happy in a long run. So with all this, lots of people are already filtered out. And then, people are also asking me, like, there are different character tests and everything. Whether that will be helpful. Yes, that will be helpful, but there are still lots of elements you need to take a look. So there is never a more successful or less successful thing. You really need to check into person. Person are really an art piece.
Yeah. So that's actually good news. There's not this one thing that always succeeds, but it depends on who you meet and depends on a lot of variables, right? So that makes you as the matchmaking mastermind even more important, because you have to, I assume you have to have in mind a lot of factors, a lot of variables, culturally, personally, psychologically, family background, job, so much, right?
Yes, exactly. And also, if we go really into details, we also we do some background check with some cooperation partners, of course, with privacy and confidentiality.
Background
to
check?
Make sure, yeah.
Like with private investigators?
Yeah, it's also possible.
Wow.
So it depends on what the clients need, or if there is member side, they want to have that, it's also possible.
I think that is interesting because I had some dates or some women that I was dating, and they were holding back a lot of stuff, and I did not find out about this until quite a while. And actually, I thought like, why didn't she tell me this like in the first few weeks?
Agree. I mean, we always say trust, respect is very, very important. But at the beginning, especially through us, what we can do is remove the bad surprise out. And then, like what you need is be authentic and try to see whether you guys as a team can work really well.
So, during my research, I saw that in the Chinese culture, women who are not married into their 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, they have quite a negative reputation. Is that true?
I mean, yeah, that's actually, I would like to talk about that because recently I also saw a video saying that the Chinese left women, there's a huge problem. But to be honest, it's not like that. First of all, just from that video, they are presenting some Chinese women, but if you take a whole look of Chinese women, there are lots of beautiful, fashionable women. So I would prefer that if you are objective enough, please take a look at that. And also, secondly, from the population there, in China, actually 60% are men, 40% are women. So you can think about it. And with that huge population, of course, there's always single ones and there are different aged ones. And from third point, I want to say China is growing, and the traditional sense has been changed already years ago. Women are independent and trying to find their role on their own, have capability to go abroad, or like me, study, live. Some went back, some didn't. And then the women are having different language capabilities. Some are picky, it's okay. Some have different experience. But you cannot say that the leftover women have a difficulty to find a man. No, I mean, it can be, there are picky ones in Germany as well. That
everywhere.
Yes, they are chasing up different quality of life, or maybe they need me.
Yeah. I also noticed that there's quite a big movement of strong women, sometimes feminist women, that I met some from Seoul in Korea, some Chinese, some Japanese, and they were very strong, open-minded, interesting women that wanted to live abroad and have a career in Germany or somewhere in Europe. So maybe these are people that want to live a different life and don't live the life that some maybe more conservative-minded people have, right? And I think it's fine to accept that too, right? So yes, there's a platform for everything.
Yes, I totally agree. It's like you can have different options of your life. Even when it comes to matchmaking, we are matching the people mostly with age different 10, plus minus 10. But that doesn't mean that if you have 30 years different, you don't find love. There are lots of great artist couple. They always have huge different age gap. But we're just concentrating on what we're good at.
So that's another detail. You match, there can be a 10-year age gap between the people you want to match.
Yeah, mostly plus minus 10, like from 0 to 10. So I'm trying to put most of them in this age difference scope. But I have to say in Europe, there are also some surprising ways for me. So that's why I'm saying like, you have to look into people individually.
What are the surprising things? Don't stop there.
The surprising things is like before with the number. It's like with the American way, like -10, +10. It's, always the ideal age to get married, to be together, for life partner. But in Europe, there are different ways that's true love. That's totally soulmate. But maybe the age gap is a little bit bigger. But still what I'm good at is, ±10 or maxima with 15. So more, I'm still not good at it. But I'm not saying that the ones who have huge age gap cannot find happiness together.
Whatever works. Do you know the Woody Allen film, Whatever Works?
Yes.
It's a great movie about how different couples can be and it still can work out.
Yes, agree.
But I would assume that mostly you match younger women with older, I mean, not old, but like the man tends to be a bit older, I guess.
No.
No, not? Really not?
Yes, although people always know that we charge men more and women are paying for the interview, and that's one-time payment for permanent service, being the database. But the women we have, they can be very successful, very beautiful, and so it's like our asset. We keep them there. And some of them actually fit the younger men better, and especially not only with data, but that's the reality. Like with mature women with younger men, sometimes this couple works better. Okay, I just had a lunch today with one of my very good friends. She's happily married for over 10 years with a kid. And he's like her husband is 5 years younger than her. So that's the real life.
And it works perfectly fine for them.
It's really great. Works great. And
did you match that?
No. But yeah, I mean before I'm a professional matchmaker, I did match 7 couple of my friends. And some of them are living in China and here and having kids and happily together. One, I can name that, because they allowed me to. Like we started together. Without me, they will never be together. And they are having 2 kids and working both for very good international companies in Nanjing. And yeah, I'm also meeting them once in a while. I'm happy for them.
That's great. So it was a hobby before it became a job, right?
Yes.
That's often the case for founders, I see.
Thank you. Yeah, I think my mentor and my business partner find my potential for that.
Yeah. And you told me that it's also become a B2B business, or part of it can be viewed as a B2B business because you work with recruiters from the luxury?
Yeah, luxury industries.
Yeah.
Yes. It's actually the way we are doing business. Because, I am in charge of European market. I'm just on my own. Of course, I have people to assist me. But for sales, we need, the more recommendation, let's say trustworthy referral. And that's why we work very close to, for example, real estate agency who are doing B2C, dealing with luxury luxury real estate. And we are working also very close with the one who's doing luxury retails. So it's also like a plus for them. So it's like add value service for them. Mm-hmm. Because normally, for the luxury industry, the way is like you let the customer feel as a family. Then you worry for them, you care for them. So my service will be add value for them as well.
So one scenario would be that a man who earns a lot of money, maybe he's really rich, he wants to buy a property here in Frankfurt through a real estate agency. And they see, this guy would be a good fit for your elite matchmaking service. Then they contact you, and what would the next steps look like to get him maybe on your platform?
Of course, if there is like a client a client, like you said, the people who's in contact with him will get his permission first. And with his permission, the client will contact me himself. So it's also we are careful about data protection and everything. We respect the privacy. And if they are willing to have the expertise by their side, I'm gonna be very glad to help. That's more or less how it works.
Okay, so from then on, it's the normal process of the matchmaking platform.
Yeah, sure.
All right, good.
Also, I do scouting everywhere. Before, more offline. Now, there are also lots of good business online events. I'm also very active there with invitation. And then I get to know the people and I get to know them offline for sure.
So when you see in an event, maybe an online event, somebody that looks like a promising candidate for your platform, you approach him, you invite him, he can contemplate if he wants to be part of your service, and then, that's very interesting. So it goes both ways. People approach you, but you approach people too, right?
Yes, and the events I attend, some are like from business clubs, and some are, for example, from Sotheby's. They have lots of great online lectures, or like online tasting events from some Weingut. Like I was there for Weingut Wegeler. So lots of these events already, let's see, show kind of good side of people as well.
All right. So to bring this interview to a close, I already want to thank you very much for your time. This has been a fascinating interview, really. I really learned a lot. But I would like to ask you, could you maybe name one or two things that you personally can recommend to men or women, however you like, for their first date? So what would be like something that you can generally, like with good intention, recommend to people?
I would like to see, keep your smile, look into the eyes, and always try to have a dessert as the last course together.
That is such a good closing word. Thank you very, very much, Susan. Okay.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning into the podcast. If you liked what you heard, then please subscribe to the podcast on whatever podcast player you prefer. Consider checking out the videos on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. You will find it easily. And if you're really a fan, if you really like it, then give me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It would help me a lot in letting the podcast grow and making it bigger and get even more amazing guests in the future. Thank you very much.